Hello, Access developer friends. Jack here again for another video. Today I wanted to do a quick post on deleting records, dive in a bit into the related Microsoft Access events around deleting a record, and then give examples of how you can put logic in these events to do some common scenarios in a typical form or application. Okay, so let me just do a quick summary of the points I want to go over in this video. How-to summary on handling events when deleting records. So we'll do an overview of the 3 form events that would fire when you delete a record. 2 of those events may or may not actually fire based on some option settings. We'll go over that option and what those events are. But there is one event, the first event, that always fires when you delete a record regardless of that option setting. Then as we identify those events, we'll review the order that those events fire and what kind of conditions and options you have in each event to implement your business logic. And then after we cover all that, we can do some example scenarios in a test database that I have ready for this. Okay, so this first event, onDelete event, always fires regardless of the setting, as I mentioned. And typically on a form, the users have the ability to delete records, whether it's just through the regular access form where, like, if you have a record highlighted and then the user hits the delete button on the keyboard, or they could right click on that and hit cut, or you could have maybe another button that will programmatically delete the selected record or a bunch of records or whatever. Somehow through the UI, users would be able to delete these records. And so every time a record gets deleted, there's 1 or 3 events that would fire where you could do some additional business logic and handle that deletion with a little more logic or granularity there. So this first event, onDelete event, this event will fire once for each record deleted. So whether you're deleting just 1 record and then the onDelete event fires once, or if you're deleting 3 records at the same time, like the user highlighted 3 consecutive rows on a continuous form, for example, and you hit the delete button, then this event fires 3 times, once for each record. Every time that the onDelete event fires, you've got potentially you can have some logic in that onDelete event handler, and you can inspect that record that's about to be deleted, or whatever else you might need to be checking. And if you decide that you do not want to delete that record that's about to be deleted, you could, within this function, within this event handler, you can just set the cancel variable equal to true, and then that would tell Access not to delete that particular record. By default, the cancel is just false. So if you don't change cancel, or if you explicitly change cancel to false, then that record is going to get deleted. In this one database configuration setting called record changes, and we'll go over where that option is. But if that record changes option is unchecked, then this onDelete event is the only event that fires every time you delete a record. Okay, so I've mentioned this several times now. There is this record changes option, and if that is checked, then there are 2 other events that can fire when you delete a record. So really quick, let's just, I'm using Microsoft Access 2013. Depending on what version you're actually on, this property may be somewhere else, or you'd find it somewhere else. But if you were to click on the File Options menu, and you get here to the Access Options window, under Client Settings, under the Editing section, and then under this subsection Confirm, this is the property we're talking about, Record Changes. So if this is unchecked, then the only event that fires is that on-delete event that we just talked about. But if it's checked, that you want to record changes, then two other events are going to fire. And those are the before del confirm and the after del confirm event. So these two events will fire every time you delete a record when this is checked. So you can sort of decide after you understand how all this behaves, then you can decide if you want to have these two events, or if you just want to keep it simpler and go with the one event, the on delete event, and do your logic that way. So we can, in the next slide, we'll talk about how these two additional events gives you some finer control on deleting records. Okay, so there's quite a bit going on here, and I was actually, as I was putting this workflow together, I was a little surprised with how many different conditions and branches can happen between these three events when you're just deleting one or more records. So as we went over in the first slide, the user deletes a record. That record gets deleted to a temporary buffer, and then the on delete event's going to fire, and it fires once for each record, right? And then you have, so that's what we went over when the record changes option is unchecked. But when the record changes option, oh, this should say changes. When the record changes option is checked, all right, that's a little bit better. Sorry. There. So when the record changes option is checked, then there's going to be two other events that I have highlighted here. All the events, just so you could see them a little bit clearer in this workflow, are in the yellow border here. Those are the actual events. Everything else is sort of just the conditions and how the flow of this flows, or how it occurs. So with this option checked, when you get through this part here in the flow, the on delete event fires. And if you want to, at this point, just like before, your logic can determine, okay, this record I want to cancel the deletion or whatever. Then you would set that cancel equals true, and then that's the end of it. The record is just restored and nothing else happens. But if you confirm that, okay, for this record or for whatever, however many records you want to continue deleting those records, then the flow comes down here, and the next event that fires is the before del confirm. And what that means is when you have the record changes option checked, then Access itself is going to prompt, give a system prompt that says, you are about to delete one record. Are you sure you want to continue? It's just a generic message, but it is a confirmation prompt that Access will do for you. And then that gives the user a chance to cancel the deletion they were about to do or continue. So before Access displays that system delete confirmation, this before del confirm event is going to fire, and that gives you a chance to do some logic. Okay, so when this event fires, now you have control over what the record is, and you can do a few things. You can change, now you have two variables. One is the cancel variable, and one is the response variable. If you were to set, you have control over, basically with this response, you have control of whether or not you want this system delete confirmation prompt to display. If for some reason the records that are in question and the specific form button, however you get to this point, if you determine that you do not want the user to have a chance to cancel this, then you can bypass this confirmation by setting response equals, actually, this is wrong. This should just say response equals false, okay? If you say response is false, then that bypasses the confirmation prompt, and the record is gonna be deleted, okay? And it's going to pass a status to the third event after del confirm. It's going to pass a status of delete OK. So this would tell this function that, or this event handler, that the record was deleted successfully. Okay, so let's come back here to before del confirm event. If you want to, at this point, before you even give the delete confirmation prompt, before you allow access to display that prompt, in this before del confirm, you can set cancel equal to true. And when you do that, again, it bypasses this delete confirmation because you're canceling the delete for whatever reason. And the record is restored. Just like the first time, when cancel is true here, the record is restored. The difference, though, is by this point in this event procedure, by this point, this after delete confirm or after del confirm event is going to fire. And actually, the status of that is going to be AC deleted. What is this? It's going to say AC. I forgot what it's. I think it's AC delete cancel. Yeah, that's what it was. AC delete cancel. And that happens on this black line here. Okay. Sorry for these on-the-fly changes. I thought I had this all set. Okay. So so that could happen where you get to the before del confirm, and before the confirmation is displayed to the user, you can programmatically set this cancel equals true. It aborts the deletion, the record is restored, and then this will still fire the after del confirm event. So at that point, whatever logic you have here would still execute. Okay, so let's take the more straight path when after this on delete event fires, on delete event fires, then the control will fire before del confirm event. And let's say you process whatever here and you're okay with everything to continue normally. Then it goes down this path here, and the delete confirmation prompt is displayed to the user. Again, that's Access's generic warning saying you're about to delete X amount of records. Do you want to continue? If the user cancels at this point, it follows this path here. The user cancels, so the record is going to be restored, and then this after delete confirm is still going to fire. The difference, though, is the status value is going to be AC delete user cancel. So at this point, you can sort of tell in this handler, did the user cancel it or did the system cancel it? And then maybe you'll handle things differently based on that. But that's the flow of control after the user cancels from this delete confirmation prompt. If the user says, okay, I want to continue deleting the record or records, then it follows this path, and it's going to delete the record permanently. That record's destroyed. And then it's also going to, again, fire the after del confirm event, and the status at that point is going to say AC delete OK, meaning the user or the system deleted the record and the record is definitely deleted. And so at this point, you'll be able to check that status and know if the record was deleted and maybe do some additional cleanup or whatever other logic you may want to do there. So hopefully that made sense. I mean, there's a lot of paths, and I'm just sort of rambling through it. But those are the 3 events that could fire when you have the record changes option checked. And at each event, you've got programmatic control that you could, check some things and determine what you should do at each checkpoint, if you will. Okay? So it will be a lot easier to go over that workflow with some real examples. And I think this is where it's gonna hopefully be the most helpful for you guys. I'll continue going back and forth between this slide and the actual example. So what I did here was I've got this sample database, okay? It's very simple. I've got one table, and it's a table of first names, right? So I've got these people here. These are a bunch of names here that I actually work with. So this is myself, Jack, and then I've got all these other people here, right? And then this is just a form that is giving a UI display of this table. So I wanted to show the actual table here, the actual records, so we can also see when the records are being deleted permanently versus temporarily. And then in this form is where we'll actually be deleting these records, okay? So to help explain this, let me first show you under File, Options, Client Settings. Where is it in? It's Confirm Record Changes. So I have this checked. I'm going to uncheck it. And now these two events, the before and the after del confirm events, those events will not fire. So these functions should never be called. The only thing that's going to fire, as I mentioned, is the onDelete event. Let me show you this real quick. I'm sure you can figure this out. But for this form, here's the property sheet. Here's the events. So I've got my onDelete event, which is this subroutine here is what's going to get called when that onDelete event fires. And then I have the after delete confirm and before del confirm. I have functions here to handle those events. But again, since I just unchecked that option, those events should not fire. So let's see what happens. And you can see here I'm debugging. I'm just gonna print out to the immediate window here so we could see what's happening here. Okay. So I'm gonna delete. Let's delete Bernie. I hit the delete button. And this says, are you sure you want to delete Bernie? That is actually my logic doing that here. Let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to hit no first so that we don't delete Bernie. I forgot to mention that I've got this other logic here. So in my form delete event, what's happening is I'm debugging some data here. I wanted to go over this with you, but these are the values of that status variable that we could run into. So we'll ignore that for now. But here I'm giving my own message box prompt. So since I turned off the system record changes option, Access is not going to give that del confirm prompt. So this is my way, or an option for you, of how you would manually give a confirmation to the user. So I'm saying when a user deletes a record, prompt them, are you sure you want to delete whoever it is they're going to delete? And then this is a VB yes no kind of prompt. If they click yes or no, that goes into my result variable here. And then I'm saying if they clicked no, are you sure you want to delete? No. If they say no, then I'm saying the user canceled the delete transaction. And here is where I'm saying cancel equals true. So to go back to my workflow here, we're here on this onDelete event. And if the user wants to cancel it, then we could set cancel equals true, and the record is restored. It's not deleted. So that's what I did. I hit no, cancel is true, and then right here you can see the user canceled delete in the form delete handler. And that's basically what happened. And so when you look here, Bernie, I could refresh the form, refresh the table. Bernie is still there. It was never deleted. Okay? So let's go the other way around now. I'm gonna so that's let me just clear this so we don't get confused what just happened. So I'm going to hit delete on Bernie again. My prompt comes up, are you sure you want to delete Bernie? This time I'm going to say yes. And here right away, as soon as I hit yes, Bernie was deleted. And then here on the form, the form is updated immediately and it says Bernie is deleted. The current record is now Bud. And you can see here when they said, at this message box, I said, are you sure you want to delete? I said yes. So then this executes. So we know that the point of control was here, and it says the user confirmed delete in the form delete handler. Okay, so that's the basic, easiest way to handle deleting records. You get your control in the onDelete event. You can do whatever logic it is that you need to check here, whether you're prompting the user or maybe checking other data on that record. And if you determine that you want to cancel the delete, all you got to do is say cancel equals true for that record, and that record will not get deleted. Or if you don't do anything, then the record does get deleted. Okay, so that was the first scenario. Record changes, delete one record. So let's do the exact same thing, but we're going to delete 3 records, and you'll see that event getting fired multiple times. So I'll come here to the table, I'll hit refresh. I'll refresh this again, and you can see that Bernie's gone. So let's delete Tim, Katie, and Bud at the same time. So I think you guys know you could select multiple records by holding the shift key down, or you could just continue. If they're all contiguous, then you could highlight one row and select multiple that way. But you can also do it. Well, I thought you could do it individually. No, I guess not. They all have to be in a row. So let's say Tim, Katie, and Bud we're going to delete. Okay. And let's go back here to our output. And what we expect to see is this onDelete event is going to fire multiple times, once for each record. And so you'll see, are you sure you want to delete so-and-so? So let's try this. Tim, Katie, Bud is selected. I hit the delete button. Are you sure you want to delete Tim? I'm going to say yes. Okay, this is interesting now because here it says form delete event for record Tim. Then, as I mentioned, that onDelete gets fired a second time, and now it's saying, do you want to delete Katie? I'm going to say no. So you can see here too that the first one for Tim, user confirmed, and then the second one for Katie, user canceled. And now, do we want to delete Bud? Let's say yes to Bud. And then you can see here for Bud, that when that event fired, user confirmed the deletion of it. Okay, so now here's what we see. We could see here that Tim was deleted, Bud was deleted, but Katie was restored, was left alone. If you come here, you see Tim and Bud are both gone, and Katie remains. So that was it. So that was the same exact example there, but it was for multiple records. Okay, let me just refresh this again. So now we're down to these people here. Our next example, record changes is checked, and we're going to delete one record. So now this is going to get us into those before del confirm and after del confirm examples. So let me go into the options and turn that back on. All right. So why don't we quickly review what we expect to happen in this scenario. Okay, so we're going to do the onDelete event like we already did. It's going to come, it's going to fire the before del confirm event. And then depending on what we do there, it's going to give us the delete confirmation prompt. And then if we cancel it, it's going to restore it. If we delete it, it's going to delete it. And this after del confirm event is going to fire at the very end. So let's quickly look at my code to see how those functions are written right now. Okay, so when the before del confirm fires, I'm going to just prompt that we're in this function. The default values, I just wanted to show you what the default values were for cancel and the response. And right now I have response set to true. So is that the scenario we want? Okay, so response is true. So what I want to do quickly is I'm going to turn this whole thing off, my own prompt. Okay, I don't think, I mean, actually I could show you an example of what happens in both. Basically, if you've got both in there, then you're just prompting the user twice. But let's, where's my, let me just delete, comment this out. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna get here to form delete. We're not doing anything. Then the before del confirm fires, I'm gonna print this stuff off. The response is true, so we want access to prompt us, so we should get the system prompt. And then after I say yes, delete them, then this after del confirm is gonna print, and we'll see what the status was that we did to delete. Okay, so let's delete Katie. Highlighted on Katie, I hit the delete button. There's the system prompt. So you notice my custom prompt, are you sure you want to delete Katie? That did not display because we obviously commented this out. And then now what happened is the form delete event fires for Katie. Then the before del confirm event fires. The response, the default value for response is 1. Okay. Cancel is 0. So cancel is false, meaning we don't want to cancel it. And the response is true, meaning we want we want access to give us that confirmation prompt. And it did. Here's the confirmation prompt. Are you sure you want to delete records? Okay, let's say no first. When we click on no, then this after del confirm should fire, and then we could see what the status was here, which the status should be delete user cancel. So the status should be 2. And that's what happened. I hit no, I don't want to delete Katie. Katie's still here. Katie's still here in the table. And we look at what happens in the before, actually that should be what happens in the, oh, here it is. In the after del confirm is status equals 2, which is I was showing you at the beginning, AC delete user cancel is 2, meaning the user is the one that deleted that canceled the deletion. Okay, so let's do the exact same thing, but this time at the system prompt, I'm going to say true. I want to fix this really quick. Let's save this. Okay. So I'm going to hit delete Katie. The on delete event fires. The before del confirm event fires. I'm going to say yes, I want to delete Katie. And the after del confirm fires. And now the status equals 0 this time, meaning that the delete was okay. We come here, Katie's gone, and here you can see the remnants of the actual record in the table, and Katie's gone from there. All right. I think that makes a lot more sense when you go through these examples here. So that was the user confirming the delete confirm prompt and the user canceling the delete confirm. We went over that. So now this is another good example of how you could bypass the system, the event flow of the delete confirmation prompt. Okay, so we're going to go through, we're going to pick a record, we're going to delete it. It's going to come here, and then in the before del confirm event, we're going to set the response equal to false. So when that response is false, again, that's basically saying do not display this confirmation prompt. We're going to bypass that. And at this point, we're going to, if we're saying delete the record's going to get deleted. This is still going to fire, and the record is going to get deleted. Or if we decide to cancel it, same thing. If we say response equals, well, actually, if we decide to cancel it, then regardless of the response, we're not deleting the record, so this never displays, and we just go straight to the record is restored. So let me do this bottom path first. I'm gonna want to do, at this point we want to delete the record, but we want to skip the prompt. So inside the before del confirm, we want to delete the record, but we want to skip the prompt. So response equals false. Okay, that's pretty much it. So nothing happens here on delete. And I'm skipping that prompt. Let me clear this out so you can see this better. And then we're going to delete Joe on this one. Okay. I hit delete. There, no prompt. Joe was immediately deleted. And let's see what happens here. Form delete fires. The before del confirm fires. And you can see here the after del confirm fires. So even though we skipped this confirmation prompt, the record still gets deleted, and this after del confirm event is still going to fire. So let's try it now where we cancel that event. So instead of, we can still say response is false, but we're also going to cancel this. And what I want to show you there is the record does not get deleted. The record is restored. Okay, right here. But this after del confirm is still going to fire. So if we get this far, then whether we delete or not, it's still going to fire this event del confirm. And then you can see on the status there that you'll know whether or not the record was deleted. So let me go here. I'm going to delete, let's delete Danny. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I changed the response is false, but I'm also going to say cancel is false. Okay. So right here, Danny, I hit delete. Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, oh man, it deleted Danny. But that's because this has to say cancel equals true. We do want to cancel it. As it says here, cancel equals true. That's what's going to get us down this path. Let me do this again. All right, so Danny got deleted there. So we're going to delete Ryan. And Ryan should not get deleted. I'm going to hit delete button. Let me show you the window here. Okay, I'll clear that. I'm here on Ryan. I hit delete. Ryan's still there. Ryan's still there. You can see the delete event fired, the before delete confirm event fired, and then the after delete confirm fired. But you could see that the status this time was 1 because we canceled the delete. So even when this thing fires, your logic should be checking the status to determine whether or not a record was actually deleted. And if it was, you may want to do something, and if it wasn't, you may want to do something. But that's basically the flow of how all of this comes down. So here, Ryan, I'm going to hit delete over and over again. Can't delete him. He's invincible. Okay, so let me clear this out. Was there another scenario I wanted to do? So one thing that you may, if you're thinking whether you should have that record changes option checked or not for your application. One, if you would like to use that system prompt for most of the time, like that's good enough for you, then I would definitely say leave it checked, and then you have this much finer detailed control. You have the on delete event that you always have, but then you get these 2 additional events that you could do some more conditions and checks to have that lower level of control when you're deleting records. And then even if you have, you're going to find that you still need to do some more customized messages when you delete records and for some of your use cases. And if that's the case, then you can use something like this in combination with record changes, right? So let's say you remember this from before where I would prompt them, are you sure you want to delete? And I'm doing that at the actual delete part here. So if I'm handling whatever custom messages or interaction I want to do here, then I could set my response to false, okay? And leave cancel as false by default. And so now I'm basically overriding that system prompt for this particular form. And that gives me that level of control. So even though you have that option checked, and then I still have the before and the after del confirm events firing, but I'm bypassing the system prompt and I'm giving a more custom message. And this is pretty basic. So for this, if this was the message, I could probably just leave it as the custom one, as the system one. But for this, I could delete Ryan now. Now I have my own custom message. Are you sure you want to delete Ryan? And then here I'll say yes, and it's done. And then you can see here the before del confirm event still fires, the after del confirm event still fires. And I've got this 2 additional levels handlers that I could use if I wanted to. Okay, well, those are the examples I wanted to do. This was a lot longer than I wanted to go into, but as I was going through this, every permutation of how those things can go, there are quite a few branches to follow. So I thought I'd give it a little more time, and if you really needed to dive into this, hopefully this helped out. If you liked the video, please let me know, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel. If you've got any questions about it, or maybe ideas of other videos, please leave me comments, and I'd like to spend time doing things that you guys might be interested in. So thanks for watching, appreciate it, and have a good one. Take care.